You know, the thing that's striking is Jordan Peterson, who is not far from the kingdom, is making more sense on these issues than our appointed teachers and scholars and theologians within the church.
Incoming freshmen next year, University of Toronto, Stanford University, 18-year-old kids coming into this. We've been through 3 years of COVID. I won't rehearse it all. Mm-hmm. One sentence. What would you say to them as they begin university at the age of 18 or 19? What's the restorative, the redemptive sentence? What should they do?
Don't be thinking your ambition is corrupt.
This is promising.
You know, because that's part of the message now. Human beings, we're a cancer on the planet. We're headed for an environmental apocalypse. The entire historical structure is nothing but atrocity, et cetera, et cetera. Anyone with any ethical aim whatsoever is just going to pull back. You don't want to manifest any ambition, support the patriarchal structure, exploit the environment. You've got to crush yourself down. You shouldn't even have any children. It's like...
And notice the people who teach that mankind is the cancer on the planet and we have to save the earth and we have to minimize our presence. And those who teach that mankind is the cancer on the planet, these people are humans who are part of the cancer, who have appointed themselves the doctor. I don't understand why some cancerous universities get to appoint the doctors.
There's no excuse for that. There's zero excuse for that. I saw a professor at an event, something like this. He came out and trumpeted this bloody, environmentally friendly house he built. And, you know, fair enough, man. It was a pretty interesting house, but...
Yeah. We like his house. I've not seen it, but let's spot him his house. Good house.
Not everybody had the $4 million that it took him to build it. And I'm not criticizing his money even. It's like, he's had some money. Good for him. He built a house. Okay.
So, yeah, good for him on the money. I'm with Jordan on this. I'm glad that this guy had money.
But then to trumpet that as a moral virtue, well, you're pushing it there. And then he came out to all the kids and he said, you know, my wife and I decided that we were only going to have one child. And I think that's one of the most ethical things we could have possibly done. And I would strongly encourage you to do the same. I thought, you son of a bitch. You get up in front of these young people. A lot of these kids were children of first-generation immigrants from China. And he showed all these images, you know, of these terrible factories in China, these endless rows of sterile mechanism that were subordinating all the Chinese people to this terrible, you know, capitalist machine. And I thought, you don't understand. Half the audience is looking at those factories and thinking, that's a hell of a lot better than struggling through the mud under Mao, buddy.
And not only that, he's talking to these people who've come from China directly or indirectly, and he's trumpeting a one-child policy in effect, which is the very policy that is going to send China off a demographic cliff within just a few short years. In fact, it's already started.
And so, I don't know where he thought he was, but to come out in front of all those kids and basically tell them that the whole human enterprise is so goddamn corrupt that the best thing they could possibly do is limit their multiplication, and to think of himself as a scholar and an educator, it was just, I did say something, by the way. It was rather uncomfortable, and he stomped off the stage. But that's no message for young people.
Given what he's saying here, I'd pay money to hear what he said to the fellow at the time. And that fellow might have been excused for stomping off the stage.
There's no excuse for that. And you think, well, you know, we're going to destroy the planet. We have to do this. We have to demoralize the youth to be ethical. It's like, yeah, really, that's your theory? You're going to demoralize young people to be ethical? That's your theory? It's like, you should go home and think about that for like a year. And
You know, the thing that's striking is Jordan Peterson, who is not far from the kingdom, is making more sense on these issues than our appointed teachers and scholars and theologians within the church. He understands the cultural moment that we're in. He doesn't really have an answer, doesn't have a solution, but he has a far better grasp of the problem than people who do have the solution.
You have no idea how many people that's killing. You have no idea. I see people everywhere, all over the world. They're so demoralized, especially young people with a conscience, because they've been told since they were little that there's nothing to them but corruption and power. It's like, how the hell do you expect them to react? You know, well, I shouldn't do anything then, you know.
So the thing that is striking, if you notice his passion not only for the truth, but notice his passion for young people and what our current demented lunacy is doing to young people who are coming of age during this epoch of clown world. He cares about these young people. He cares about getting them oriented, cares about telling them something that's true. And it's no wonder that he has an audience of young people, young men particularly, flocking to hear him. He's telling them something that somebody else ought to have been telling them. Thanks for watching. If you'd like more of this kind of content, be sure to check out Canon Plus. That's where you can find all of my audiobooks and a huge collection of resources to help you engage with culture and live faithfully. By subscribing to Canon Plus, you're supporting the making of this show and more. If you haven't joined up yet, you can get your first month for just 99 cents by using the promo code DOUG99.